Apologies to the viewers for being the initial guest. No, thanks, Jeff. It's great to be with you, man. Wherever you're at, I'm happy to be always. How you living? How are the new digs treating you, even though they look exactly the same?
Totally. That's what everyone said. They're like, that's weird. Jeff's background's the same. And it's like, believe it or not, I'm living in the same house and working out of the same apartment. But it's been a blast. Sometimes just mixing it up, just getting into a new routine, trying some new things on. But in all seriousness, I mean, you and I texted a little bit, not to get too far behind the scenes, but Jeff and Clint have been fantastic. And all the people that I had talked to sort of said that would be my experience. And so it's been fun, and it's new, and it's a challenge, and you get a little chip on your shoulder, fire underneath you. So it's been good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to see you grow this channel. So
I appreciate it. Well, we're going to talk sort of big picture. I've got 7 questions here, and let's just start the biggest picture, where we stand as of today, off day. Dodgers are 20-11, second best record in baseball, half game up on the Padres. They're 4th in runs scored. They're 1st in runs allowed. They're coming off a 13-game stretch, however, in 13 days in which they went 6-7. So what do you make of kind of this first 20% of the season is in the books. What do you make of this stretch?
Yeah, I think, everything I've always heard working in baseball is you got to wait 40 to really have a good sense of a team. So we're not quite there yet. So, judgments are still pending on players and the team. But I think we feel good about saying this team is good. It's a good team. They're supposed to be good. They're the 2-time reigning champions, and they've only added to the roster. Now, still some injury stuff and notable ones. And I know fans of other teams are going to say, yeah, but look who is still there and look who's not hurt, which is totally fair. I think that for them to be where they are, in both in terms of the standings and the record and overall, despite really not clicking at all offensively, is pretty remarkable. I mean, they have been buoyed by the bottom half of the order, and the big guns really have not gotten involved consistently yet. And so I think that is something, I know you're a glass half full guy. So if you want to have that glass half full, that's what you say. It's like, look, I mean, they're in first place, and has Shohei really gotten rolling? No. Freddie is. Kyle Tucker certainly has not.
Yeah.
Freddie certainly has not. So Will Smith certainly has not. So to have all those guys scuffling in their own ways and to be in first place, I think you would take that.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get into 7 questions that I think kind of capture what has happened. And we mentioned, I mean, they've lost 7 of their last 13. We all know this thing's headed to burn to the ground. So my first question is, when they trade Ohtani at the deadline, Steven, do you think they can get anything for him?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully you can just reset the system a little. Oh, that system is already really good.
Yeah.
It is like, but that's, we can joke about it and it's fun to do that. But that is sort of the bar that the organization has set for itself. Those are the standards. The standard's the standard. And the Dodgers wouldn't have it any other way. If the sky is falling after a 3-game series, or in this case, a 13-game stretch, then okay. It's because they're designed to run away with the division, or at the very least, win a 3rd straight World Series championship. So I think everybody understands that. Nobody backs down from it. And nobody in that clubhouse is kind of sweating the fact that, hey, they just dropped a series at home to the Marlins for the first time since 2018. Hey, we just went 6-7 on this 13-game stretch, and that includes series against the Marlins, the Rockies, and the Giants. All right, it happened, but we're going to be okay.
Yeah. You mentioned not all of the guys that you expect to have been.
When I say we're, the team is saying that. I am not on the team. I'm not a we us guy. I work for the team. So
there you go. Good clarification. We appreciate it. You mentioned the guys not getting going. I went and looked at who are the Dodgers, like offensively, who are the most valuable hitters for the Dodgers right now. And safe to say, I don't think anybody expected those 3 names to be Max Muncy, Andy Pages, and Dalton Rushing in that order. And there are positives. We're going to get to the positives in a little bit. But I think the name, you've mentioned it, that is most filling up every group text that I am a part of amongst Dodgers fans is Kyle Tucker. league average offensive player so far, 700 OPS. The strikeout rate is up like almost 50% from where it was last year, up to 22% almost. This is, as you mentioned, we are an up and to the right, optimistic, realistic channel about the Dodgers.
To the right.
So the obvious take here is pump the brakes on panicking about Kyle Tucker. But what would you say? Question number one is, what would you say to the people in my group texts who are teetering? And when I say teetering, that might be generous. They have already gone into full-blown panic about Kyle Tucker and the contract he signed. What would you say to those folks?
I get it. I do. I really get it, why folks feel the way they do, because it's hard to be the new guy.
Yeah.
Because the two chips he wasn't here for, right? And so you're here to help win the third, and right now you're not pulling your weight. And the numbers bear out that way. Again, we are not at the 40-game sample. There's still a long season to go. I also am a big proponent of giving people grace.
Yeah.
And Kyle Tucker, that is an unbelievable upheaval in life.
Yeah.
Right. He's a Florida guy, roots there. All indications were that he was going to one of those teams on the East Coast, whether it was the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Mets. I think the Mets felt like they had him.
Yeah.
I don't think Steve Cohen is tweeting about it. Tell me when you see smoke if he doesn't feel good about him coming. And then he signs with the Dodgers for this mind-boggling deal. He just has his first kid.
Yeah.
As he's starting spring training in a new
Which
place.
we all know that. I mean, that doesn't impact anything in your life. Sleep schedule, emotional health, none of that is impacted. Relationship with the people most important to you, all exactly the same.
Totally. Nothing changes at all. Please, for those who don't have kids, just go into it with that mindset. Everything stays the same.
Yeah.
So, and then so you put all like the life stuff aside, and then just like playing baseball.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable in a new organization, a new home ballpark where he's definitely struggled so far at Dodger Stadium to get rolling. I'm just going to give him some time and give him some grace in trying to get his legs underneath him. The personality, his personality is totally different than what the Dodgers have on the roster, but you have to be who you are. You can't come in if you are not like this outgoing, bubbling, vivacious jokester. You can't get dropped into a clubhouse that, has Kike Hernandez, Miguel Rojas, and Haesung Kim in it and try to be exactly like them. Like, you got to be who you are. And I still think that we're in the getting to know you phase with Kyle Tucker. And so I'm just going to give him some time to get there, get comfortable, and then we'll roll after that.
Yeah. Well, and the number that jumps out to me most about Kyle Tucker when I'm trying to figure out, like, what is actually happening, why is this not working at the plate, is if I put myself in his shoes and all the things you just said, I'm walking into a place with World Series aspirations. On top of that, I just got handed, like, the biggest contract of all time from an AAV perspective.
Yeah.
What am I most likely to do? I'm most likely to press, right? And then I go look at the first pitch swing number, and this is the number that rattles me. 2024, he swung at 32% of first pitches. 2025, he swung at 36% of first pitches. He is swinging at 52% of the first pitches that he sees. He has only been above 44% once in his entire career. And so I don't know, Steven, if this is like a note that the Dodgers gave him is, hey, we want you to be more aggressive because of where you are in the lineup. But it feels more to me like a guy who is just pressing a little bit and is trying to do a million things all at once.
Yeah, we talked about the first pitch swing numbers on the Wednesday broadcast, and they're notable. I mean, way above league average, and certainly above where he's been in his career, and even as recently as last year. And so I'm with you. That speaks to me, somebody who's trying to make something happen. He's trying really hard to make an impact, because he's supposed to be an impact player and an impact bat and an impact slugger. There hasn't been a lot of slug.
Yeah.
So typically if a pitcher's trying to get ahead, you might look for that first pitch strike and try to do some damage on it. So I'm with you wholeheartedly that it's just going to come down to Kyle Tucker getting comfortable, exhaling, and getting back to himself, because there's been more whiff, chase, swing, certainly more strikeouts, a lot more first pitch swings. So it's just a little bit uncharacteristic on a number of fronts from just a pure baseball standpoint. And again, you and I are also keeping in mind the life aspects to his situation as well.
Yeah. Let's go to one other guy who has not gotten off to the start that he wanted to offensively, and that's Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
He's hitting .259 with a .328 on base and a .414 slug. And I think what's most surprising to me, Steven, is last year I remember being at spring training and he was saying like, yeah, I don't think my ankle is going to be ready the first half of this season. Like, I'm just going to be gutting it out through this. This year, I'm like, man, this guy's going to be rested. He's going to be healthy. I was like fully prepared for a massive bounce back season. I mean, he was good last year, to be clear. Bounce back's the wrong term with Freddie Freeman.
Relative to him, though.
Totally. And yet he is 36. Some of the athleticism, which never was fully there to begin with all due respect, Mr. Freddie Freeman, your sprint speed hasn't been in the top 80% in a while, but like,
right.
What do you see from Freddie Freeman? Is there any level of concern here of like, man, this is a guy who's 36 now?
No, I'm going to trust not just the back of the baseball card because that's the past and that's when he was younger. But just the way Freddie Freeman is wired, like nobody is more in tune with his swing in baseball than Freddie Freeman. Like, and it's never a secret where he's at. I mean, we just saw yesterday, he's getting pitches to hit and he's not doing anything with them because that's what happens when he's kind of cutting his swing. That's the way he'll describe it. He's not, he's cutting across, he's not staying through the zone. And it's just, so he's just a little bit off. Now we saw that for 2.5 months last year. I mean, that was a summer of struggle for Freddie Freeman, like the likes of which we haven't seen in his career. And so, he is fighting against Father Time and his baseball mortality. And I think that's a fair discussion to have. But he is like, again, so in tune with his swing and his body. He is very diligent in how he takes care of it because he wants that longevity. He's made no mistake about it that he wants to get to 3,000 hits, and he's got a great chance to do that. So it's to me, it's just Freddie finding it, and I have faith that he'll do that. To kind of take a macro view, we have some guys on this roster, Jeff, that have typically mashed at home at Dodger Stadium, and they're not to start all at the same time. And that's a weird thing to witness. And I've been asking about that, with some of the baseball ops and front office and coaching staff, and nobody really has an explanation. Like they felt like if it was something with the ballpark, guys would say so. Hey, like this is messing with us. Or we don't like
walking past the Uniqlo sign on our way into the stadium.
Right. Or like, I mean, in center field, right? Like, okay, it's above the batter's eye though. Like, and again, there was a time where center field, the batter's eye looked different and they were given feedback by players to change that. They addressed it. So it's just one of those weird circumstantial things where it's all happening at the same time. And unfortunately, during these homestands, Dodgers are coming to the plate and you're typically getting used to or getting ready for a big moment because this is where they provide them and it's not happening yet. And so I think that's sort of a difficult thing to stomach right now or understand, maybe the better way to put it. But I do really feel like it's just a matter of time for these guys, and especially Freddie Freeman, because he's such a scientist up there. He figure it out.
Well, and I mean, even digging into some of the nerd stats, as some people affectionately call them, the underlying stuff is actually all really good with Freddie. Like the concern would be if you go to the Savant page and there's blue everywhere. He's 90th percentile or higher in expected batting average, expected slugging percentage, like the barrel rate, the hard hit rate, the exit velocity, all that is good. The only two numbers that are down are whiff rate and walk rate. And walk rate is kind of the weird one for Freddie Freeman because whiff rate, whatever, but the walk rate is kind of, he's a 400 on base percentage type guy historically, and he hasn't been. So again, is it I'm struggling and therefore I'm getting a little bit too aggressive and trying to make something happen? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to ask him this point blank, but like, does he feel like he's chasing hits?
Yeah.
You know, when
Right.
you talk about 3,000 so much, which I think it's so important for everybody to have goals and aspirations. Like that's all right because that's going to drive you. Like I want to get there. This is something I want, and like talk about it. It's better to do that than the opposite than suppress it. But now is it at the point where it's maybe impacting his approach because he is so like studious in how he approaches the batter's box. Like even just how he talks about the Nestor Cortez grand slam, like that was all because of his process and his thoughts. So now is that process changing a little bit to like, I got to get a knock. Like it's not good enough for me to just get on and wait for my next plate appearance because how many plate appearances do I have? Like, is that creeping into his head at all? Like I will look to have that conversation with Freddie. The stretch that he's got 19 games without a home run now. Like that's not he doesn't care. Like home runs are happy accidents for everybody, but especially for Freddie Freeman. So like I'm not sweating that either. He's hit the ball hard all season long.
Yep.
And he's just not getting results. And right now he's in one of those stages where the swing he's getting a lot of weak ground balls to the right side, and he hates that. So that's where he's in a bad spot mechanically.
Okay, let's talk about a guy who is having pretty much the opposite experience as a start to the year, and that's Dalton Rushing. I'm curious, how much Dalton Rushing stock are you buying? This is a guy that I held on because I'm like, I know 150 plate appearances at the big league level. It hasn't been great, but he's hit everywhere. He's mashed everywhere. All the smart people think this guy's going to figure it out, and so far this season, it looks like he has.
Yeah, I hope folks held that Rushing stock. And that's something Dalton Rushing told me during spring. He's like, I've been able to mash everywhere at every level. So his self-confidence is off the charts. It is genuine. He has been like this probably his entire life, even going back to when he was in Little League. Like he has never, ever, ever doubted his ability to play this game, his ability to succeed in this game. He believes wholeheartedly that he is going to have a long and fruitful big league career. So you have a guy who has that much self-belief like that. It tells you one thing. Last year was important for him though in his journey because it was humbling.
Yeah.
Because for the first time in his life, he didn't mash.
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. He wasn't playing a lot. That's a new thing for him. This is an everyday player because of his ability to hit the baseball. That bat is always in the lineup, but it wasn't because this is the Los Angeles Dodgers and you got to earn those plate appearances. And where do you put them? And so to have that experience of struggling and I don't think he doubted himself, but then you're starting to scratch your head like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be as easy as I have always thought it would be.
Right.
That gave him a chance to reset this offseason, and it was just really healthy for him. And yes, there's mechanical tweaks in there. He talks about wanting to get into the ground as soon as possible, get into his legs. He's always had a little bit of a kick, but just work from the ground up as soon as possible so he could be on time. And last year couldn't hit a breaking ball, couldn't touch breaking balls. And this year that's out of the gate. Everybody's just trying to spin it on him, and he's just hitting home runs left and right. Now, where I wonder if he tripped himself up at all, and this is a question Dalton would answer himself. It was around the Colorado series where he had said, okay, now that I'm hitting breaking balls, I bet they're going to start to try and beat me with fastballs. I'm going to beat him to that adjustment. And so instead of like sort of kind of staying in this area where he was and having success, he was trying to start the chess game, right? The cat and mouse of batter versus pitchers. Like, okay, I couldn't hit a breaking ball last year. Now I'm crushing breaking balls. That means they're going to start feeding me fastballs. I'm just going to be ready for the fastball as opposed. So, and that's where like now he's gone this lengthy stretch, without hitting a home run. But I think this is all just a part of his growth as a big leaguer. I have to shout that I haven't brought this up on the air just yet. Will Smith has been incredible with Dalton Rushing behind the scenes. Incredible. Like people do not understand how much time and energy that Smith is pouring into Rushing. And I don't know that that's something that Smith had when he first came up in the big leagues. Look, I know you're a football guy. A lot of times you have a veteran quarterback on a roster and a team drafts a young quarterback, doesn't matter, first round, whatever. And then that veteran quarterback will get asked, hey, like, are you excited to have a relationship with it? No, like, yeah, if he has any questions, I'll answer them. But my job is to get ready for Joe Flacco comes to mind. Like, that's not my job, is to bring this guy along. Like, he's got
to train up the guy who's going to steal my job. Thank you.
Yeah. You want me to train up my replacement? So, and I do think that happens in every sport. But Will Smith, he is secure in himself and who he is. He is certainly secure with his
bank account
financially, right?
Yeah.
And I do think he made the decision to go the other way. Like, this is what happened to me. I'm not going to be that guy. Like, I am going to go out of my way to bring Dalton Rushing along. And that's what he's done. Like the pregame prep and study sessions that they do together. I think to have people like Will Smith and the veterans like Max Muncy, Miguel Rojas bring Rushing along to be a pro, that's going to be massive when you combine that with like his hitting ability, his self-confidence and all that. Now, like, I mean, and we haven't even addressed the elephant in the room with Rush, which has just been his ability to always know when the camera's on him or not know when the camera's on him.
Yeah.
And get the internet talking. But that's another conversation entirely, which we can have if you'd like. But
it does feel like he is the guy who find that moment. Does the moment find him, or does he find the moment, right? When it comes to saying the thing about, was it stealing signs or whatever that was, or, getting hit on purpose and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's been a eventful couple weeks for Rushing on cameras and in front of microphones. It was the Colorado Rockies series where he talked about them swinging at first pitches being fishy, and then the Rockies turned that into their hit sign, which was well done by them. That's how you do it.
I like it.
The Jung Hoo Lee incident in San Francisco, getting hit by Logan Webb, and the Miguel Amaya incident with the Cubs, and the Cubs definitely trying to follow Logan Webb's lead. Like, anybody watched his last plate appearance, Rushing's, and he had to jump out. Like, everybody knew.
Weird.
Yeah, not a coincidence. So, and getting back to the note I mentioned about being a pro and like understanding all these things that come with it. Like, I think that is just part of the maturation process for Dalton Rushing. But look, folks have been looking for reasons to hate the Dodgers for the last couple of years because they're ruining baseball, and then they're the evil empire, and then you're like, wait a second, like, do I really hate Shohei, Mookie, Freddy, Tommy Edman, Will Smith? Like, these are really my villains? It's like, okay, well, maybe now Dalton Rushing is giving them a legitimate legitimate case, and you know what, I don't think that's a bad thing. As long as Dalton Rushing is able to, stay focused on himself and do his job, then there's no real harm in it.
Well, and he's in a clubhouse, to your point, like you just said, that you're not really worried about that personality spiraling out of control because he's not high enough on the totem pole, and there's plenty of people that aren't afraid to say something, and I would say a healthy way. It's not going to turn into this I'll just leave it at some other situations that have popped up in major leagues where veterans try and get involved in things. But I think the Dodgers and Dave Roberts, I've said a lot. That's the superpower, is that these guys can come in and Dalton Rushing can be himself, and he can have the confidence to believe that after 150 bad plate appearances, he's going to figure it out. And then he figures it out. And yet at the same time, there are going to be some people that say, hey, let's just keep this thing on the rails. Like, we're good with most of this. Like, the bandwidth for saying things like, sure, whatever, who cares? But at the same time, there are going to be some lines somewhere, and let's just make sure we stay between them.
Yep.
So, okay, let's switch to the pitching side of things. And I'll put you on the spot a tiny bit here. Who's the best starting pitcher that the Dodgers have? I'll give you some numbers. Shohei Ohtani, 0.6 ERA, 10.2 K per nine, 6 innings per start. Yamamoto, 2.87 ERA, say no more. I'll include Tyler Glasnow, 2.56 ERA, a 10.9 K per nine, which is bonkers, and a 0.8 whip so far this season. So I mean, these guys are all awesome. That's the joke behind this question. But it's interesting that, it's almost a bold prediction to say anyone other than Yamamoto is the best pitcher. But there's a couple guys who are at least making a run at it.
So the answer is yes. I agree.
Exactly. Yes, totally.
I think if you were to like turn this question up, like if you have the Dodgers got to win one game, who are you throwing out on the mound? Like that's kind of how I'll.
And let's set aside whether or not Ohtani is allowed to hit on days when he's pitching in this equation as well.
Exactly. Just from a pure pitching standpoint and like starting a game and winning a ball game, I really do still feel like Yoshinobu Yamamoto is the best bet. I just like he is the most consistent. Obviously, his last turn, wasn't his best, wasn't him, but I just you feel coming to the park every time you got a Yamamoto bump day that this is win day for the Dodgers. Yeah. Whereas it's not that you don't feel confident if Ohtani takes the ball or the way Glass has pitched this year, like, especially the first handful of turns where he wasn't walking anybody. Obviously that, bit him this last one against Miami. But if that's the version of Tyler Glass that you got, like that's, that good luck if you're the other team. So it's an excellent problem for the Dodgers to have that everyone struggles to answer this question.
Yeah.
But I will default to Yama just because of his sort of just his steadiness.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget the 2-time Cy Young Award winner who's going to be coming back at some point in the next month.
Yeah, that guy.
Up into the mix,
Yeah. You know what? Like, and I shouted him out on the broadcast on Wednesday. Like, show I don't think is still qualified yet, right? So does Justin Wroblewski still have the best ERA of the staff among qualified pitchers? I believe he does. So,
yeah.
This is Robo like Rushing has like always had this unwavering, brash confidence about him.
Yeah.
And that's despite the fact that Rushing and Robo's pro journeys, as you have documented in your chats with them over the years, are two very different things. Like Wroblewski has kind of had to, overcome a lot on the injury standpoint and bouncing around different journeys in his college career. But you see in how he pitches, like he is like, F you, don't care, coming at you. And so now he's got results to back it up. But like doing it the way he's doing it is just really impressive. Like the lack of swing and miss, now he saw the punch outs rise his last start, but just kind of trusting the defense to make plays, going deep into games. Like he's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just maniac pacing up and down the dugout, like raring to go for his next inning. So like the fact that guys like him and Emmett Sheehan and River Ryan, when he gets the exposure, they'll be able to kind of like learn from osmosis the same way they did with Clayton Kershaw last year, but now with, Ohtani, Yamamoto, Snell, Glass now, like that's really exciting for all these guys' futures.
Yeah, and it's perfect. Wroblewski was actually going to be my next question, so I'll just make a comment quick and move on. But to me, he has been fantastic. Guys that don't miss a ton of bats worry me a little bit. Like if you're just relying on a lot of pound the zone, let the ball get hit and play, weak contact, like that's not the worst approach in the world, but it also feels like a harder one to bet on. But between him and
but he's got that. He's shown that club in his bag before, and so that's why I haven't like fretted too much. Totally. I know I asked Robo about that specifically. I'm like, hey, how much, especially in this day and age where called strike and whiff rate is kind of like one of these stats that you look at right after a start. And when you don't get whiffs like that, but you're having success, like how do you sort of balance it? He's like, well, you kind of have to pay attention to it, because like it's an indicator of your stuff and it's a good indicator for future success. And it's also how you get paid. The teams look at that like, okay, this guy's missing bats and missing barrels. Like we got to pay him. And when we're having this conversation, Emmett Sheehan astutely put his phone down for a second. He goes, I think 8 shutout gets you paid too.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was just a hilarious moment. He was like, yeah, you're right. If you just keep going 7-8 shutty, then I think X will eventually be there for you. But yeah, like it's the fact that he's done it before, and now he's finding success a different way. Like, if anything, I hope that he spins that as up and to the right.
Totally.
I can win today in a multitude of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, I think the thing that I appreciate is exactly what you said. He has the stuff to do it. It's not like he's, Kyle Hendricks out there that's firing like 90-mile-an-hour fastballs, and you're like, well, hopefully nobody hits it out of the park. Some balls die on the warning track today. It's like, no, he can throw upper 90s from the left-hand side and has some stuff to mix in there as well. And so, and then you mentioned Emmett Sheehan's name. Like, I was asking lots of questions about the velocity early in the season, and are we okay? And is it sustainable on that front? And then it's like, no big deal, 10 strikeouts the other day. So even the back half of the rotation is going well. But we do have to ask about the one other guy. Roki Sasaki is the other guy in the mix there.
Yeah.
And I write the Roki Sasaki experiment, and I only mean that from the perspective of the Dodgers saying we're going to figure things out at the big league level. We're going to learn on the fly. We're not going to send him down to AAA to fix some things and then come back up. It's been fascinating to watch, to say the least. I joke that like it is a gift to every content creator in the Dodgers space. Roki Sasaki has been a gift because every single start, if you want to believe in Roki Sasaki, you could look at the stuff and say, hey, only 3 walks in his last 2 starts. Like, he's got the command. The strikeouts are going up, like up and to the right. And if you're skeptical, you could say he's also allowed 14 hits in his last 9 2/3, which isn't a very good number. And he's got a bunch of home runs on the resume. And so I'm kind of trying to live in both of those places, where at the beginning we said you need to throw strikes. You cannot walk 6 guys and be successful. Well, he has limited that. He's getting more swing and miss. But being in the zone has also led to more hits, and that's the piece I don't know what to do with yet.
Yeah. As long as the fastball characteristics are the fastball characteristics, I think there's just going to be some skepticism.
Which seems like, from talking to smart people like Lance Brozdowski, like it seems
Lance
like it's a pronation or something like that. And like it doesn't sound like there's a ton of hope for believing that the way he throws a baseball, that the 4-seamer is going to become, it might be thrown harder, but the spin, the IVB, all that stuff kind of, it feels like is what it is.
No, you're right. But if again we're trying to keep if you're trying to keep an optimistic view, and again, I'm not trying to. I know we keep harping on up into the right, glass half full. Like I'm anybody who feels differently, they're more than welcome to, because you can look at the numbers and feel validated in that opinion. I'm just saying that if you want to find like a silver lining in anything, it's like, hey, well, he has tweak the forkball. I know it's been charted as a splitter. It's a forkball. I don't understand that. It's a StatCast question. But now the characteristics of that changed in his last start. So is he showing the willingness and the ability to adjust the arsenal and change his pitches? Doing this on the fly at the major league level, like as frustrating as anybody may want to feel about Roki Sasaki, like you do have to give him that.
Right,
like,
it's brave.
For him to stand in there, hey, Jeff, I'm going to throw you in the octagon with a champion, MMA fighter. Like,
you're going to learn to fight there.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
It's like that's essentially what he has signed up to do. Right. And so, like, I absolutely like tip my cap to him. And he has also been a little bit more honest, open, vulnerable in his media sessions, talking about that. Like, if the team wants to send me down, like, I didn't feel any confidence going into today. Like, man, if I am like going into a broadcast being like, I don't know what sport I am calling today, I might be calling out sick, because like nobody wants to look like a fool. Right. But he has taken the ball. And again, I do believe that that's admirable at the very, very, very least. But there have been, they may not be like giant steps forward that people are wanting. Like, okay, we want to see like the highlights of this guy when he was in MPB, when he was just 102 blowing it by guys and then like spinning around like tops on the forkball. Like, where's that? Okay, well, this is a different league, and this is a different pitcher, and You're not going to get that one giant leap for Roki Sasaki. These baby steps are kind of big. I think they're big wins. Now, what happens when Blake Snell's done with his rehab assignment? That question is way, way, way above my pay grade. But I'm certainly as fascinated as you and everybody else to figure out what the answer to that question is, because they're going to have to answer it.
Yeah. Last one for you here, and we can go quick on this one. Tanner Scott is kind of the last big storyline to me. Obviously, a huge free agent signing a year ago, struggles mightily, to say the least, in his first year. And yet, so far this season, 0.75 whip, an ERA of 2, 15 appearances. The walk rate is a career low, even if the strikeout rate isn't perfect. Like, are you willing to buy that some version of the 2024 and beforehand Tanner Scott is back with the Dodgers?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Other teams were too. The Dodgers got a lot of calls this offseason trying to buy low on Tanner Scott. Got a lot of calls on Justin Robleski as well. And those, obviously, the conversations didn't go anywhere, and because the Dodgers knew what they had in those two guys. Like, it wasn't going to get worse than that for Tanner Scott. Like, that was bottom line a year ago. And, that happens in baseball, especially this position, Jeff. I think you and I have definitely talked about this before. Like, the most volatile position in baseball by far is the bullpen.
Right.
You got guys who are unhittable, untouchable, and then the next year they can't get anybody out, and then they lose the closer job. Like, it doesn't matter what heights you ascend to. It is really hard to maintain at the back end. And if your mechanics fall out of whack, like they did for Tanner Scott, and he never really got him back on track, the results were the results.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is a guy who kind of needed to struggle or be humbled or anything. That was just baseball happening, and it happens at that position a lot. So I'm buying Tanner for sure. And I felt that going into spring. I was like he's just going to be he's got to be better. Like, there's no way he could be anywhere close to last year. But
well, it's hilarious because he has the one outing against the Cubs where he gives up the 2 runs on the home run. The 8 outings on either side of that, he didn't allow a base runner in half of those. He only allowed a hit in 2 of them. So it's you have a 9 outing stretch where you basically are completely untouchable in 7 of the 9 outings. The other one, you give up a hit, and then you give up a home run in the other one, and ERA is what it is. It's just funny how relief pitching works.
No, for sure. And, the other aspect of it too is that, the getting him rolling comfortably in the right lanes, right, where he can. I buy that too. What the Dodgers and Dave Roberts are putting out there about having Edwin at the back to start the year. It just kind of simplifies the rest of the equation. Now that is all jumbled for the next few months as Edwin's out after the surgery, but at least you got Tanner back to kind of feeling and operating like himself again, and the results bear that out. Like, those blips on the you mentioned against, that's going to happen to everybody. Every reliever gets clipped, and Kenley got clipped last night, as steady as he has been right throughout his career, or in recent years. He'll have his ups and downs too. I know that was a name that Dodger fans, wanted to bring back, bring him home this offseason, right? Okay, well, it happened to Kenley, right? It can happen to anybody. So, I'm excited about where Scott is and how he's feeling about himself again.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Steven, as always, very generous with your time. I promise you 25 minutes. We end up at the 40-minute mark.
We always go over.
So, I love it. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. And I'm really excited for you. Congratulations again on starting up this new channel, this new chapter, and it's just going to be more of the same. And so I know a lot of folks are following Team Speaks. I don't know if that's an official name, but
we are going with Speaks now that I do share all Dodgers with another Jeff. So Speaks has become a thing, which is I'm for it. That was my nickname. That was kind of the high school, college age nickname. So I'm not opposed.
Yeah, no, just that was smart. Definitely between you and Snydog, like the last name was that's the most logical. It's the most logical route through this problem here.
Yes.
So, anyways, all the best to you and of course the family.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you everybody for hopping in. First episode of Bleed Blue. If you're new here, please subscribe, ring the notification bell. Tell your friends that we've got a new Dodgers channel, that we'll have some content here on a weekly-ish basis. Guys like Steven hopping in to talk Dodgers. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
In terms of guests, only up and to the right from here, Jeff.
That's the one place I'm not sure we can say up and to the right. You know, it's we started at the top, and we'll figure it out from here. Unless you've got Clayton Kershaw on speed dial, Steven. I don't know how far up and to the right we can go from here.
Yeah, let me see. No, I don't.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Brother.
Well, I appreciate everyone for watching. As always, go Dodgers, and yes,